that's when I found like my mind was like slipping because it's just like everything that's happening is because of you, right? Or because of me. Because it's like, oh, you know, what if she doesn't survive? What if things happen? What if there's complications?
Well, welcome back, guys, to Smashed Oranges. Today we have a special guest. We've got Omari. Maddie's here, of course. But they are in the hot seat today. We're going through your birth story. I'm super excited to hear some more details. I've heard bits and pieces, but I'm really looking forward to hearing Omari's perspective and to hear some more of back and forth on your whole experience. So take us back to the beginning. I know that you guys went into labor a little early.
Yeah. So I was due, I think, July 26th. And
Around
Arden,
there, yeah.
and Arden came June 30th.
Ooh.
So at 36 weeks and 4 days, he was born, but I think I went into labor on 36 and 3.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was the morning he was born, so he went into the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. So 36 and 3, we went into labor, and we had been planning on doing a home birth. Obviously, that didn't happen because they won't let you do a home birth at home before 37 weeks. Because until then, baby's deemed premature. Which I was kind of annoyed about because the whole pregnancy I was telling them my due date was wrong and he was going to be early and nobody listened to me.
Mother's intuition, sometimes it just rings true.
Anyways, that's okay.
So what happened? You went to labor early.
I was stressing about nesting and cleaning my house and having everything perfect for a new baby. And thought
You told me to clean the shower. I didn't clean the shower. I was going to do it later. And you cleaned the shower when I was away at work coaching. And then the water broke.
How valiant of you to give this information willingly.
Is what it is.
I was
It's part of the story
on
now.
my hands and my knees scrubbing the shower. And then I stood up to go get a drink of water. And as I stood up, my water broke.
Oh my gosh.
What if, because you thought of water, your water broke? There's a correlation
It
there.
was like subliminal messaging or something.
Just like deep in your brain, it was like water. Oh.
No, I don't think
I think it might have been the scrubbing, Omari.
Yeah, I
it
think
might have been the labor.
scrubbing. Well, and the day before, though, too, I had been feeling a lot of like pressure. I was really uncomfortable, and I'd gone to the beach with a friend of mine, and she asked me if I had my hospital bag packed, and I was like, no, I don't. Like, still far out, but like maybe not that far out. She's like, maybe you should pack that. So I went home and I told him, you have to pack hospital bags. Like, this baby could come anytime now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was going to pack the bag later. As I'm sure we're all seeing a trend here.
We're also supposed to be the, like,
Omari's just like, it's going to happen
Yeah,
eventually.
It's going to happen eventually.
Fine.
I will catch up. That's probably like
I'll catch up.
my procrastination. Be like, just do it in like an hour.
Yeah.
That's what I need to have happen.
So
probably.
I called him. He's at work, and I'm like, my water broke, and I'm like freaking out, like stressing, like, what do we do, kind of thing. Yeah. And so we called my midwife and said that we were going to check into the hospital. I'm just going to, check into the hospital. And, so Maria came home. We went to the hospital. We were both just kind of like freaking out. At this point, no contractions were happening. And so they confirmed my water had broke at the hospital and then said that my group strep B test hadn't come back yet. So they had to treat it as though it was positive and start me on antibiotics. Just because if it is positive, the baby could be quite sick.
Okay.
And so we went that route, but then they said you can't be on antibiotics forever without having contractions because we can't just give you antibiotics till the end of time because that's not good for you either. So yeah, no contractions were happening. We were like trying everything to get them going and just like nothing. So they started me on oxytocin and then contractions started happening about 4:30 in the afternoon, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, around there.
So what time were you admitted to the hospital and what time did the contraction? You said it's 4 o'clock.
Well, my water broke at about 12 and then we were admitted to the hospital at like 1.
I think it was, I remember this
1:30.
because I finished up a session because I was coaching, I was training a kid, so getting ready to go to spring camp or main camp. And then we finished up. I was only like packing a bag of ice for him because I think his knees were sore. And I remember like finishing packing, like, oh, call from Maddie. That's strange. Like, I'm sure he wants food or something. But in my head, I'm like, water broke. And I'm like waiting to hear it. Because I had a feeling too, because like, she never really calls during this time. Because like, it's either a case of like, oh, can you pick up like a burger or like some nuggets? And okay, like, I think I just knew it wasn't going to be that. But okay, this is going to be a high percent chance water broke.
Wow.
She said it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then
Trying to stay calm. What was going through your head?
just get home.
Just get home.
Just get home.
You
like,
just mission. You just knew
like,
what the mission was.
Nothing. I couldn't like pick up the water at the school I was at, so I had to like, get home, get settled, figure things out. In my head, I'm like, I probably should have packed the bag.
Oh no.
Should have packed the bag, but luckily I knew like, okay, things are gonna like ramp up right away, so we had some time.
Yeah. Well, they did not ramp up right away. So
Yeah.
No, so that's the other thing
That's
too.
interesting because it did take a while.
Yeah.
That's actually
Yeah.
surprising to me how long it
well,
took
and they
for
didn't
contractions
start
to
until I got onto oxytocin.
Yeah.
And so the hope was with like taking oxytocin that eventually they would kind of just like take over, like my body would figure out what was happening and like take over on its own. So yeah, I was in labor on oxytocin from when they started me on it at 5 until about 2:30 in the morning. And at this point, my midwife had said like, let's do a cervical check and just see like how far along you are. That was the most horrible experience of my life. And
What was that like?
Surprisingly painful. And like I was in like the side. I was at the side like couch. And I was just
Yeah.
like, okay, like cervical check is like I'm envisioning like cervical checks like I'm thinking of like the movies where they look on the blanket. Oh, you're this far dilated. You're
Yeah.
good to go. Like you're on track.
Yeah.
I sit there and Maddie starts screaming. I was like, what is
I feel
happening?
like she like shoved her whole hand inside of me. I think that's what happened.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like,
And
damn. Like I was
had
like,
I been like 6 or 7 centimeters dilated at this point, that probably wouldn't have sucked so bad. But she's like, yeah, you're not even 2 centimeters.
Oh no.
And at this point, this has been now like 5 till 8, which is basically the entire duration of your labor.
yeah, almost.
From like water breaking until baby being born, and then like here I am being like, oh, I'm only 2, not even centimeters dilated.
Oh, that's brutal.
So she said, like, well, probably you might want to take an epidural because at this point I wasn't on any pain medication. I had just been like laboring with contractions with no pain meds for like 8 or 9 hours at this point.
mm-hmm.
And so she said, you might want an epidural because we're going to increase the dose of oxytocin we're giving you. It might get more intense.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this point I was tired. So I was like, yeah, like give me the epidural. They gave me the epidural and then Arden's heart rate crashed.
Oh no.
It was crashing. It was,
Well, what was happening, I guess it wasn't
dropping?
crashing. It was like, so I guess it's supposed to be like,
Mm.
it's normal for the heart rate to go down with the contraction, but then it is supposed to go back up as the contraction is like stopping. But what was happening is his heart rate was dropping and then the contraction was finishing, but the heart rate wasn't going back up
As
at this
fast.
I
as
see.
fast as the contractions were.
Okay.
Yeah, so they called in the why am I totally bringing the like
Anesthesiologist?
no, the doctor.
Oh.
The
they were
doctor.
like, just like,
Yeah, because I wasn't there for that part because
Oh, yeah.
I decided to go to the washroom.
Because I mean, to be
Oh,
fair, they had kind of
It's been
pitched
a
this
while.
as like we were just going to kind of like get the epidural in, like see kind of how things were going to go after that, and like take a little bit of like
A break.
it kind of sounded like we were going to take a little break and just like see what was going on.
okay.
So Mari sees this as an opportunity.
I was like, okay, well, like, I'm not gonna ask to go and use like Maddie's washroom because in case she needs it.
Oh yeah.
It's okay, I'm just gonna go to the washroom. I didn't get a chance to go today. I'm just gonna go now. Like, I just need to go to take like 10 minutes, whatever long, like just a little me time. Just like, steps I go.
Mari needed some me time. Needed to take a
Go.
poo.
Go, scroll on TikTok, Instagram, just a little doom scroll. Okay, a little break. Let's get back to
Just
it.
casual.
And I mean, to be
labor.
fair, I didn't even notice he was gone at this point though, because I was getting the epidural put in, and like there
No, I
were
was
so
there
many.
for that. I was there for that.
Oh, yeah, I don't see. There's so many
Yeah.
people in and out of the room. I didn't even know what was.
Well,
happening.
and like at that point, kind of what you're saying is they were like, okay, so epidurals in things. We'll just like wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
They weren't expecting anything to change right away.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
So it was a nice lull to like,
Yeah.
Mari's like, you're
So it
only
made
2
sense.
centimeters. He's
Yeah.
not being born right now.
Yeah.
I can.
I can just take a quick like 10 minutes.
So while Amari's gone,
This is where things ramp up.
Yeah.
Did
So
you
while
notice that
Amari's
he left?
gone, pardon?
did you notice that Omar had left?
No.
Okay, so after
I think
he
at
left,
some
things
point I
just,
realized
like-
he wasn't in the room, but I don't. That part's a blur to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember that really at all.
So then what?
So, yeah, then the midwife is like, oh yeah, I guess heart rate's not doing this. We'll consult OB. OB comes in and basically says his heart rate's not recovering. I feel like she said, I highly recommend you go for a C-section, but I don't actually know if I had much, like, I feel like it was a choice, but I don't think it was actually a choice.
Mm.
You know?
They didn't like consult you on like pros or cons or what the experience is going to be like. They just said,
No, I feel like
"We
there
think we
was
should."
some consultation about what that was gonna look like. They like kind of came in and were like, look, his heart rate's not recovering. Like that's his, like showing a sign that like he's tired. He's either like, yeah, baby's getting tired, you're getting tired. Like
Mhm.
his heart rate's not recovering. This isn't like a good sign.
Mhm.
In this situation, we would typically like recommend that you go for a C-section. And like a few weeks prior, a friend of mine had spent like 36 hours in labor and active like contractions and stuff and ended up in emergency C-section anyways. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna go for a C-section. I like agreed to it, and then they were like, yeah, okay, we're taking you for an emergency C-section. And then like all of a sudden there was like people in the room like getting me ready to go. Omari kind of comes back and is like, what the heck? And I just remember like somebody handing him scrubs and they were like, go get these scrubs on.
I remember coming in and like there's more doctors in the room and they were talking about C-section. I'm just like, wait a minute here. We just did epidural. Like we're at 2 centimeters. Like we should be like, you know, continuing all this pace if we're gonna go. And then I find out, oh, his heart is dropping and then they're going to C-section. So I was like, damn, like what a poop to have to where it's just like nothing's happening. We're taking a break to like, hey, emergency C-section.
Quite the
We're
turn
getting
of
some
events.
scrubs ready to go. So
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, like, this is wild. So, but definitely like from when I came back, it just sounded like there was a doctor explaining everything and saying, yeah, like I remember her saying like, you know, we could continue long time, you know, risk of the heart and everything, or just get done and over with.
Mhm.
And I was just like, damn.
That's
this
kind of
is
how
really
I
quick.
remember the conversation, but I don't know if there was actually like, yeah, I feel like because his heart rate was dropping that like it probably wasn't safe to keep doing what we were doing.
Yeah, which is now where I was questioning, like, you know, if we went the no epidural route, who would keep going? Did you want to keep going? Because again, like I say all this, but like,
yeah, see,
I'm not
I
the one
didn't
doing the
at this
labor,
point.
so
I was
can't-
like,
I can't just be.
I mean,
like,
I'm not dumb. I know you're gonna like after childbirth, you get a baby,
Yeah.
and that baby has like needs to be fed and taken care of, and you're probably not gonna sleep for like a week.
Yeah.
So in my head, I was like, do I actually want to continue laboring for like endless hours? Because like we just spent 8 hours and I'm only at 2 centimeters. Like I don't know if I want to keep going like this. Like I'm tired.
Yeah, that's a good point.
At this point, it was like, yeah, like 2:45 in the morning. Must have been like 2:40. He was born at 3:45.
he was
like
born
th-
at 4:14.
Yeah. So between 3:45 is when they said like you should go for
Wow.
a C-section. He was born at 4:14.
What a quick turnaround.
So like 30 minutes of going from like, oh, we're taking a break to, oh, here's a baby. Like it
That's
was crazy.
So when Omar came back into the room and they handed him scrubs.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're here. And what are your thoughts for Maddie at this point? So you're like, okay, I wasn't really prepared to like get scrubbed up and go into surgery, but how is Maddie doing? How can we be there for her? What were your thoughts for that?
We'll just be there. Nothing I can do. So just
Yeah,
be there.
surgery.
You know, it's just hopefully my voice is deep enough.
You're just knocking it with your hand.
I just ideally be there. Like I was just trying to think. Like I'm just trying to think what I could do. If anything, getting down there, it was just one of those things where it's like, hey, like I know this is like completely off the script. What we want, like we're already off the script from the home birth, and we go like even further off the script with now the emergency C-section.
Mhm.
So for me, I was just like, hey, well, here we go. You know, I didn't have much thought. It was just more just like
Just be there for Maddie.
be there for Maddie.
Yeah.
If she needs anything, all that. Because of course, like, you know, it's I didn't think the depth. I knew of C-sections just because like you hear it from movies and everything around, but I didn't realize the depth of it that goes because like I don't know, just like one of those things where you just hear like it was done in the way and done in the past, and so it's perfect, like a alternative way to have a baby be born. But then also seeing how, you know, things have been going for Maddie on the recovery side, which I think we'll get to. It was interesting to see that. So,
I think that's a good point that like C-sections are so commonplace now that we forget how much of a major surgery it is and the fallout from that. So I think that's an interesting point, and I would like to pivot maybe from there because I would like to hear about the recovery. So once Arden was born, very quick after hearing that you're going through C-section, it's crazy. So once that was all done and you had your little precious baby boy and you're all stitched up and you're sent on your way. So what was that like? Because you have...
Yeah, okay. So, like, immediately after... Oh, God.
Because you hadn't...
Sorry, I'm just formulating my thoughts because there's a lot of them.
You hadn't fully mentally prepared for a C-section.
No. Yeah, so I don't think I understood, like, how massive of a surgery that was, you know? And so, like, Arden's born... I can't hold him because I'm laying on the table shaking.
Yeah, because you get the shakes a lot.
That's pretty typical though with childbirth, even if it is a vaginal delivery. But like, I couldn't hold him, and then couldn't get out of bed on my own. Couldn't sit down on the toilet on my own. Had very just like there was no feeling in my left butt cheek at all.
Wow.
And I don't know if that was from epidural or what, but we get home.
We figured it was from the epidural because
it wasn't though, because we talked to the anesthesiologist about that.
Yeah, but
anyways, that's still up in the air. Anyways, I just like wasn't prepared for how little I was going to be able to move and like get like you're laying in bed like 3 days postpartum, your baby's crying, and you're like trying to get out of bed. I have to like wake him up and be like, I need help out of bed. And then you like stand up and you have to pee really bad. Just you're like trying to get to the toilet. But then like, I felt like I didn't even have like enough muscle control to like perform the motion of sitting. Like I'd have to like use my arms to like sit down safely.
Yeah. Well, a squat takes like every muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like initially, just being in like a ton of pain. And, like, not really being able to, like, stand up on my own. Like, even, like, during the day, I spent a lot of time in, like, the living room and sitting in the chair. And, like, getting up from the chair, I needed help. Like, it was,
Did it impact the way that your postpartum days looked or what you expected them to look like? How so? Omari's nodding. I would like to hear what your thoughts. You're like, yes.
Baby, I need you to pick up my water over there. Baby, I need you to go do this. Baby, I need you to do this. Like, I think the most frustrating thing for me is, like, if my water is sitting 4 feet away from me, I like to just be able to reach over and grab the water.
But even that lean,
I couldn't even do the lean.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I'm, like, trying to figure out how to breastfeed. I'm not sleeping. I can't pick up my water off the freaking bedside table or, like, the coffee table in the living room. Like, I can't reach, like, an extra 6 inches to grab the popcorn. Like,
But then again, like, I know there's things that, like, you can do and you wanted to do, but as well, like, that's not where I step in. Like, I didn't birth the baby, so like, I can do all that stuff.
Yeah,
which I know,
and you
like,
were great about doing that, but it's still just like frustrating to like have to ask for every single thing.
Well, I mean, it's sure, but like, you also grew, birthed, and feeding the baby. So like, I can at least pick up a few things.
Yeah,
I can pick up painkillers. I can help you like all that stuff.
I also think too, like because it's such a common thing. Like I know lots of people have had C-sections, and I think most people know lots of people who've had C-sections. I don't think people realize actually like how much pain you're in after that. Because I think I was like maybe 6 or 7 days postpartum at this point, and I was wearing one of Omari's hoodies, and it was a white hoodie, and we were eating something, and I spilled like some sauce or something on the hoodie, and I was just like, ugh, and I looked at him, and I was like, do you want me to go, like, this probably should be washed right now, and like, do you want me to make sure this gets washed right now, kind of thing. He was like, yeah, like, that's my white hoodie. And so I stood up and I took the hoodie off, and like, we had stayed with my parents for a few weeks just to like have some extra support, and their laundry's in the basement of their duplex. So I like walked to the top of the stairs and like go to like take the thing down. I just like started crying because I was like, I can't even walk down the stairs. And nobody in that moment had like clued in to like, oh, Maddie can't take the hoodie down the stairs to put it in the laundry. It was kind of just like, oh, you spilled stuff on the hoodie, you should take the hoodie downstairs. I was like, but I can't do that. Like, I can't go up and down the stairs right now.
Yeah,
I'm in so much pain.
Again, because it's so commonplace that everyone's like, oh, we forget. how
Yeah,
much
and I
support
mean,
a
by the
postpartum
time, like,
mom
at this
needs.
point, like I said, I was like, it was like maybe a week had gone by. I was like, oh, I'm still not like able to do just simple things like go up and down the stairs.
Which is so funny because all the layers that are cut during a C-section.
Yeah, like it's a
that's gonna
total,
take
like
a while.
considering how massive
Yeah.
of a surgery it is, like not being able to go up and down the stairs after a week later is totally normal.
Yeah.
And like, I know I had a friend come visit me like that first week, and her partner at the time had like a hernia surgery.
Oh yeah.
And she was like kind of shocked at how much I was doing.
Yes.
Because it's a bigger surgery than a
Yes.
hernia surgery. Like he had a keyhole like hernia surgery or whatever.
Gotcha.
And yeah.
And they take you out of business.
And she was like,
Yeah.
no, he's been a baby on the couch for the last 3 weeks.
Well, that's what the doctors tell you. Because Josh actually had a hernia surgery when we were dating,
Yeah.
engaged. And
Yeah.
he came and stayed with us for the same reason. Because he's like, I can't do anything. Like, I need more support.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
they're
with
like,
family.
here's a baby. Go run a marathon.
That's so
Massive
funny.
surgery. Here's a marathon.
I've never made that connection before.
yeah.
That's so funny.
It's wild.
But I love that Omari brought up the partnership aspect of that.
Yeah.
Because my postpartum experience was very different than yours. But even so, I resonate with the like kind of relinquishing the ego a little
Yeah.
bit. I feel like I physically am unable to do certain things, and I have to I have no choice but to rely on my partner.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just a really special place to be. And when we were kind of talking about this episode, you mentioned how it
Yeah.
really brought you guys closer together. So I want you guys to expand on that. Like, what?
So I definitely think childbirth is like one of the most like vulnerable, raw things that anybody will ever go through. I think. I could be wrong, but I don't really foresee many more moments in my life that could be that more like exposed. Like we
Yeah.
have pictures and like videos of like me having contractions, and I'm like standing like butt ass naked in the
Yeah.
bathroom, and he's just like holding my hands while I'm like
We were doing a sway.
yeah, we were like
That's so
swaying and
special.
like toning and stuff.
Yeah.
It's I think it's funny because of the sway, because like we always go like ranchmans and dance. I was always looking at Maddie would like to dance, so like of course we danced, and then like the sway was just a version of the dance.
That's so sweet.
Aw, I never thought about it like that, but that is really sweet. Yeah, so I just feel like going through childbirth with him and having him be so supportive and like just loving unconditionally, even though like I'm feeling like
It's all your fault. Should have pulled out.
you're wrecking a nice moment.
Sorry, I guess trying to make a clip there for your for the reels.
I mean,
Yeah,
it could
no,
also
but
be real.
it was just like I don't know. I like to in a lot of ways I feel like I'm a really independent person. And like even what I was just saying, like it's frustrating to me I can't pick up my own water, you know? In that moment it was like just so nice to have somebody just like so consistent and steady. Like I feel like I'd use that word to describe you. It's like you're just steady.
Yeah, I agree.
You know? Like Omari's not an up and down person. Like he's pretty consistent, and I think like that really was
What you needed during
what
that
I
time.
needed during that time. And I think it was just like a nice reflection on like that's really what I need in almost every area of my life, because I don't feel like I'm a super steady person. I feel like I can be a little up and down.
You
And
guys are a
so-
little yin and yang. Put it
Yeah.
that way, right?
Yeah. And
Balance
so
each
it's
other
just, yeah, it was really nice to have just his support through childbirth. And like I had said to my sister after, I was like, yeah, you know, this might sound crazy, but I don't know that I was ready to marry him before we birthed this child, which is kind of crazy because I know a lot of people like would want to feel like super like 100% like we're married, now we're having a baby or whatever. So that wasn't our situation, but I definitely felt like after we had the baby that I was 100% like, yeah, if he asked, like before the baby, I was like a 95% sure I'd marry him. And then after childbirth, I was like, no, 100%. Like, there's nobody else I'd want to go through like
Yeah.
hard things with, because he was just like so there for me. And even after, like, there was some stuff that happened, like, in the actual, like, OR room that was really traumatic. Yeah.
So you're experiencing a lot of that postpartum trauma as well. I know Murray was there. To
Yeah.
kind of
So, like, in the days following the
you
birth,
work
like,
through
he
that.
was just, like, there to, like, we were able to talk to each other about kind of the like, traumas that happened in that
setting.
setting, yeah. And so, yeah, I think just all of it, I was just like, he was just there for me through all of
really
that, you
special.
know?
And I think it's cool too. I love what you're saying about the birth being something that just like grounds you too, because I
Yeah.
think it symbolizes like the unifying of your family unit
Yeah.
and like bringing this whole new person into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's just so special.
Yeah. And I think too, like, I do really feel like Arden's birth did bring our families really close together. And I've also felt nothing but support from his, like, from your parents, and like your mom really showed up too.
Mhm.
Like in those early days.
And your parent and
Yeah, and my parents too,
yeah,
obviously.
I don't
but,
want to make it sound like just my like
No,
both,
like,
both
yeah,
of my
both of-
parents
yeah.
showed up
as-
and like which is
Yeah. As the birthing parent,
Mm-hmm.
not partner, but as the birthing parent, there is something really special about knowing that like the other side of your family will be there regardless.
Yeah, like I just remember like your mom like saying to me like she was at one point I was like shaking like 3 days postpartum still, and she had come in and just asked like, what do you think this is? I was like, I feel like it's just like a trauma response, and she kind of just talked me through it, and I cried, and she was like, I just love you like you're my own daughter now, and like
That's very vulnerable to share with your mother-in-law.
yeah, and so I'm just grateful that I have that kind of relationship with your mom too, because I'm clear that is not, that's kind of a rare thing, I would say. I don't think I've heard many of my friends talk about like having those kind of intimate moments with their mother-in-laws. But yeah, I just feel like, yeah, I
That's so
definitely feel like our birth experience brought us closer together.
That's very special. I appreciate that. And I can see it in the two of you. Like, I knew the two of you before you had Arden a little bit. I kind of was there for the blossoming of a relationship.
Yeah, you were.
the clawing out of the friend zone. A bit more to go into the gray zone.
You were, you put forth the fight for that one. So it was really cool to see it all kind of come to this new season of life, and to have watched you guys grow together. It's been really awesome, and I appreciate you both.
Funny thing I'll add to that. We were actually looking at, was your old phone or one of your old phones,
yeah.
and looking at the previous histories of like the 2000 of like the COVID 2000
It was on your
2001.
Facebook page, I think.
Oh, okay, yes.
Somebody's Facebook.
Yeah, Maddie was looking through and she was like, she said, "You're putting in work way before."
Yeah.
He's like, I knew I had to do some groundwork, man.
Yeah, I think so. I was about to say, this is the long game. I knew exactly what I was doing.
Yeah, you were like DMing me in the beginning of 2020 and like reading the messages back. I was like, oh, these messages are so flirty. Like, how did I not see this? Like, on both ends, though. But even, like, reading it out of context, like, if you were putting your own context over the messages, you'd be like, these two are 100% flirting. In my mind, we were not flirting.
That's so funny. Yeah, hindsight is 2020. But how fun, because it's like, it was so built on friendship, which is what it's so
Which
fun.
I think is where like, I think that's where we're so unique is that like, there's a friendship foundation there like
Yeah, a long time.
a long
friendship.
time.
Yeah.
Despite us not even talking all the way through FFCA grade 1 to like 12.
Yeah, we really didn't talk till after we graduated high school.
Grad camp,
But
we had
you
the
knew
first
of each other,
conversation.
same
Yeah.
circles.
So I guess that's the thing where like we knew, and like this is where I always think it was like this is where like I guess to take it outside of like the childbirth, but like our friendship, even with our other friends from FFCA, even with myself, because I know we were FFCA from grade 2 to
8.
8. There's that moments of like you grow up together and you see each other grow up in different stages and all achieving different milestones.
Yeah.
So it's unique because then when you make friends in like say university, you know, they haven't met you in the, you know,
Yeah.
awkward grade 3, 4 stage all those stages. So
Yeah.
it's like you need to see, because then like for Maddie, I got to see when like you broke your ankle, you had that ankle fracture.
No.
We were locker buddies, and then you just
Yeah.
kept saying I'm making out with my girlfriend at the time.
You would.
But like all those moments,
Textbook.
all those moments I feel like are like foundation, because it's just like
Yeah.
they have more meaning. So this is
Yeah.
now where I always find like any of our like FFCA like friend group from that like elementary to high school is like
Yeah.
a lot of
Really
meaning.
strong.
This
Yeah,
is
really
also
strong.
what I'm saying though too, with you being like a steady, consistent person. Like,
Yes.
Omar,
He's always been like this.
he's always been like this, but like even as my friend though, like he was there for me through some shit.
Oh.
You know, like yeah, like I remember we had gone on a trip to Mexico when we were
2014 or 2019.
we would have been like 19
Early
at-
20s.
yeah,
1920.
we were like 19. But I had miscarried the previous fall with a different partner.
Wow.
And like one night in Mexico, like I don't know, there was a conversation that happened at the bar we were at, and I was drunk, and it just like triggered me to be really emotional. And I remember like leaving the bar being like a bit of a hot mess, and like you and your friend at the time just like coming out and like sitting with me on the beach and like talking me through that at like 19, you know. So like this is who Amari is at his core. Like not like I'm sure a majority of 19-year-old dudes would just like sit in the bar and be like,
A little
oh,
awkward.
she's emotional, but I don't know what to do.
Thing
You
is,
know, and then also I'm gonna tell a funny story too.
which one? There's so many.
So fast forward like another five
Which one? Which one?
another 5
which
years,
one?
I had gone on like 2 dates with this one guy. And then I had called it off with him. And he
Alright.
texted me saying, yeah, he texted me asking for a third date, and I replied saying,
Oh,
like,
is this
thanks, but no thanks, or whatever. And then I drove across the city
Oh,
to
this-
sub some class, and the class was actually canceled, whatever. It was just a bad day. So I'm like sitting in traffic, I'm ragey, and this guy texts me back and goes, that's okay, you're too dramatic and all over the place. And that was just like the nail in the coffin of my day. So I like call
Oh.
Amari, and I'm like crying on the phone. Like, this guy says I'm dramatic and I'm all over the place. And Amari starts laughing. I'm like, shut up. Maybe it's true, but like he doesn't know me well enough yet to know that.
Omari's like in his head, I know you well enough. Well, I'm
You
not
know,
gonna say.
so
I'm
I
laying
just
the
like
groundwork.
when we started dating though, like I was all like, I don't want to lose a good friendship, blah blah blah. And then Omari was like, yeah, but what if by not dating we're missing out on something really great?
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't know. And he goes, oh, it's not like I'm asking you to marry me or anything. And I said to him in the moment, I was like, yeah, but we both know that's how this ends.
Oh, so special. And now you guys are here. It's gotta be-
Now we're here.
With a baby. We're still married though.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
We're waiting for the ring.
We're working on that. Working
Okay.
on that.
So one final question to wrap up
Yeah.
your guys' birth story. What's one piece of advice that you would give to a partnership, a mom and a dad, who are going forward into a C-section experience?
whoosh.
How much time do you want to prepare? Because I can answer.
You answer.
Yeah, go for
Okay.
it.
I'll answer on the male perspective side.
Great.
Because I feel like
We need more male perspectives.
yeah, for what we can give, the moments to where I found the most trying moments was when like you go down the elevator, and then you go through the doors. Okay, you wait here. We'll call you when you're ready. They say 10 minutes, but I swear it feels like
An eternity, probably.
eternity, right? And like especially at the time of day when we were going through it, it was like no one in the room. You could tell it was like an office space, empty, just waiting. You're just like, okay, like here we go. But like that's when I found like my mind was like slipping, because it's just like everything that's happening is because of you, right, or because of me. Because it's like, oh, what if she doesn't survive? What if things happen? What if there's complications? What if things like all the reasons, right? Because then you tie it back to me, and this is now where like I had to this is like a good test for myself to mentally like rein everything in, right? And then be like, hey, you're gonna show up, take it literally like step by step, and go forward. I found like it was like one of those like moments where I like used to like check my morals and like check with my standards and check with like what we're gonna do in the situation, like all those things there, because I'm just like I knew like, hey, I have to be here, but like there was no ounce of me that wanted to like get in it and run. Like I can only imagine like say like there's an alternative timeline of like me not being there. What if it was like, oh, he's not in the waiting room? What then? Could you imagine that? Like
We're
that.
not even going to talk.
I know, I don't even talk about it, but like,
hard.
but like
Yeah,
that's it. That's
like, yeah.
that's just like an alternative timeline of just like, what if
The impact if you hadn't been there.
hadn't been there, or what if say I was someone who like didn't abide by like my my rules of just like being there, sticking to her. So that was something which I was just like happy for myself to see how I responded through that, regain my composure to be able to show up for you in that moment. So I think for guys it's just a matter of like you're gonna get tested, but it's gonna be literally between your brain the entire time.
That's great advice. Yeah, stay true to like the purpose of you being there, which is support, to be present, and to and just remember that like I liked that you said take it step by step. Because I think
you have to, because it's
you
not
trip
like
over yourself if you think too far in the future. So just one day at a time.
Can't say an hour.
Yeah,
we had a baby in
15 minutes.
15 minutes. So like, let's go step by step.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Maddie? Advice for C-section mothers?
Patience. I think for me, it was a really like. For me, it was more like patience with the recovery and like ask for help and like therapy if you're not like feeling like if you feel like incomplete with your birth, like seek help to get complete with it. Because for me, a year postpartum, I ended up 6 months postpartum, I got into therapy because I was like experiencing some postpartum depression and like a lot of anxiety and like flashbacks to the delivery room. And it was just not good. And I felt like it was tied to the birth. And so, I got into therapy, and it was like talk therapy for a few months, but I ended up doing ART, which is accelerated
rapid eye treatment.
No, accelerated resolution therapy. And it has to do with like rapid eye movements and like repatterning how your body is like, it just helps you like process the trauma that's unresolved. And like that was a big shift for me after that. Like I went from like having panic attacks to like not having panic attacks, and like from not being able to stay home alone with Arden for a whole day to being able to stay home alone with Arden for the whole day after doing ART. So like for me, I think seeking help was huge in tying up that birth experience. And then like the physical recovery, as we've talked in previous episodes, like that was a big hurdle for me as well. Like I remember we had gone out to BC when Arden was like 11 or 12 weeks old. And I was like, I'm just going to go swim in the lake. And I remember trying to go swim in the lake and being like, whoa, you use a lot of your core muscles to swim. And my core was just not there. Like I got out of the lake because I was like, I'm going to drown.
Oh,
like I can't swim right now because I'm going to drown because my core is not firing enough to like keep me floating. That was a really weird sensation to be like in the water and being like, I'm trying to swim, but like your muscles are literally not swimming. And you're like, I just gotta go back to shore.
Yeah. So remembering that things take time and giving yourself the grace to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
I really like that you said that you went to different types of therapy too, and like sought different professionals, because I think sometimes people get discouraged when they try one avenue of treatment or one avenue of I guess treatment's the best way to say it. So it's good to say, give yourself the patience and the time, put in the effort to do what you need to do. This is really quite a ground.
Well, and even within that too, like I had seen 2 different therapists that were therapists, and both of them were like birth traumas, like therapists. And the first one just didn't jive with me.
It's a special relationship. So it does take some work to find the right person for sure.
And so like give yourself the grace to like have that. And then I also think communicate what you're feeling with each other to the best of your abilities without getting like defensive about it. Because I think what was big for me too was like I was really upset we ended up in a C-section because obviously I wanted a home birth, and like even like hearing like home birth stories after like when you announced you had a home birth, I was like, oh, I can't even talk to her right now. Like it was triggering, and that has nothing to do with you. Like I was able to recognize like, oh, that's my shit, not Sarah's shit. Like Sarah has nothing to do with this, but like, like that was hard. But I think there was part of me that was resentful about the fact I was cleaning the shower.
So to wrap this up,
So yeah,
partners?
but we had talked about that though,
Oh,
and we
great
had
chat.
that conversation, and it was like, I feel like when we had that conversation, it wasn't like a blowout fight. It was a conversation,
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
you know.
Well, and I think Omari like takes responsibility for that, which is helpful.
Yeah, like that's like I knew
Yeah.
I was gonna do it, but I definitely was like, I'll do it later. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
in my head, like I had it to like, hey, I'm gonna coach, and then like
Yeah.
maybe wanted to clean it like later, or I don't like. It's just one of the things I was like, oh, let's do it later. Like I'll get it done,
yeah.
Okay.
but like
Yeah.
I was gonna do it on like it's my timeline, but
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
didn't realize
yeah,
my timeline was as accelerated.
That's okay. Because I think we've established, like Maddie and I have
Yeah.
talked about this, that I think there are a lot of factors in her timeline at that point. There was a lot of stress in her life. So I'm sure
yeah.
it wasn't
just the shower, but like in
Mhm.
those moments, you're like, I just want something to blame,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. And like through
can feel
therapy,
tough.
I've got to the point where like there's nothing to blame. Nobody's at fault. It's just like is what it is, and we'll like
Pivot.
move on to the next thing. You know,
Yeah.
Arden was sunny side up. Also,
Oh, yeah.
like when they pulled him out of the we didn't actually talk about the birth at all, but like
Oh yeah, he was. They said that.
yeah, like I felt them like go through. To summarize this, I am 90% positive they did not give me enough anesthetic because I felt like every layer open.
Ew.
It was disgusting. Like I
Oh,
didn't
that's
feel like
horrible.
sharp pain. It wasn't sharp pain, but it was like I could feel every sensation still of like, oh, like that's moving to the left, that's moving to the right. Oh, there's the next thing. Like this is
Gosh.
it was super disgusting. And then I hear somebody go, he's sunny side up, which means like he's like
he was like this.
if you're laying on your back, the baby would come out face down. Right? And so he was face up. Anyways, that like when baby's in that position, it is typically a really long, horrible labor because they're just like not in the right position to stimulate the cervix to dilate.
Mm,
So in that moment, I knew I had made the right call.
that's good.
And then they pulled him out, and it was a lot of pressure. But
then it was just like, where?
yeah,
And he started
I
just like
forget why I
crying.
started
like the
telling
movie.
this story.
Just like I guess
Just
to
actual
summarize
birth.
the birth because
Yeah,
we didn't actually dive into the birth.
Oh yeah, just to summarize the birth. Yeah, it was a little bit traumatic.
Yeah,
So
you.
again, some things to work through.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think you want a different. You want if.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. Is next time.
Mhm.
Yeah, next time we'll just do some stuff differently. Just lower
Yeah.
stress.
We'll do a whole other podcast episode, I think, on like your second time giving birth, like things that you and I maybe want to prepare for, or
Yeah.
maybe reflect a little bit more on, like, because now we'll be able to share birth
Yeah.
stories.
Mhm.
I'm actually curious. I would like to have somebody on who's had a VBAC, so
Yes.
vaginal birth after cesarean.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to attempt a VBAC, and I've been told
'Cause-
I'm a good candidate for so.
Because
But
we've known people who've gone vaginal and then C-section.
yep,
Mhm.
And so it'd be nice, I guess, interesting to see that perspective because
totally.
this isn't where I know I know VBAC, vaginal birth is really what you really wanted. And so I think that's going to be something to hunt down. And so
yeah,
I think one thing that we did was to really try and like list all the variables
Mhm.
and then like get answers for them and then see like, okay, which ones really played a factor, which ones didn't play a factor.
Interesting.
And then like, I think we have a good list now of like
yeah.
variables that we have answers to. And
Right.
we don't know like, hey, for next time,
Right.
check that off.
That
And
makes
Yeah.
sense.
And then just do whatever is in our power to.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, seeking the right professionals to help
Mhm.
with that, and seeking some more resources.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great place
Yeah.
to go. So
One thing that I want to know is just like movements that you or like any pregnant person like does or can do to help and like
Get the baby in the right
get it
position.
in the right position and
Ah.
hold it in the right position. Because I feel like
spinning babies.
because literally we were like
Yeah.
'cause,
Spinning
like,
babies, yeah. And Sam has actually we had talked a little bit about this, but
Yeah.
I think this is where we maybe didn't prep as much as we maybe
Yeah,
could have,
because that's
So
one thing
again,
where like
some
we were at the ultrasound. Oh, he's in perfect position, good size, everything. Sick, cool, and then
and then 3 days
And then
later
end up
he's in the
changing.
wrong position.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
so like there's something there where I'm like, what could we have known?
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
we could avoid in
Yeah. We'll
shower, but that's all stuff that
We'll do a deep dive
Yeah.
on a bunch of stuff. And we would like to hear back from our listeners after hearing both Maddie and Amari's birth story and Josh and Sarah's birth story. we're very interested to hear your perspective on things and maybe any advice that you have if you've experienced similar stories or any professionals that you've sought out in the Calgary area. We would love to receive any recommendations. So with that, I just want to thank Maddie and Omari again for being here. Omari, thanks for being an awesome birth partner and being a solid part of Smashed Oranges team.
He's our unofficial tech man. Yeah. He helps us when we have audio issues.
We love him.
Yeah, anything tech
we
I
appreciate
nerd out on.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So with that, guys, don't be afraid to hit the like and subscribe buttons on YouTube and Instagram and all the things. Give us some comments and feedback on our latest episodes, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much.